How's it going? Today I want to talk about gear, precisely because I think it's talked about way too much, and I want to speak specifically about what you don't need rather than what you do need. See, this rig is incredibly impractical for any kind of outdoor hiking, on the move, run and gun kind of shooting. And that's funny because I came out here specifically to test whether it's feasible. And that taught me a few important lessons. Anyone who hikes a lot will know that you want your gear to be lightweight, you want it to be durable, and you want it to be small and compact as possible. So throughout numerous commercial projects, passion projects, and general filming expeditions like this one, I've learned a few things about what gear you actually need in the field and what you really don't need. So today I want to speak about 5 items that are in my bag, regardless of how little space or how little room I have, and that come with me on every trip. So let's start off with the camera, and you'll have to contend with some iPhone footage here for a second. This is a Sony a7 III. It's about 2018, I think is when it came out. A lot of people might call it outdated. I think it's an amazing camera for being out in the field and in the bush where you need to keep your weight and size down, because it is quite compact, although it looks bigger with the cage and the handle and all that stuff sticking out. And the main reason I love it is because it's quite good at taking video and photos. So this films up to 4K 25 frames, S-Log 3, so you have a color gradable profile, but it also takes 24 megapixel images with a beautifully large sensor that performs quite well in low light and in most conditions really. And this thing has taken quite the beating. I've dropped this in puddles, I have filmed in 80% humidity environments for weeks at a time. So this is an amazing camera. The lens I have on it is the Tamron 28 to 75mm, which is actually kind of a budget zoom lens, but it's quite good. It's quite a good workhorse lens. It does everything I need it to, and I use it in 80% of cases. I have this thing screwed on. So really, if you're looking for a versatile camera model, I can recommend this one still today. It produces amazing quality. I still shoot commercial projects on this, and it's now 2025, sorry, since today. There are other models. There's the Sony a6400 or those older ones. There's Nikon models, Canon models, about which I don't know too much, but the point is really just to have a camera with you that can do photo and video, that is somewhat durable and can perform in not so great conditions, and that is somewhat compact. And for me, this does the job. Absolutely. Now then, secondly, we have this Manfrotto tripod, and you might think, well, this is not a tripod, this is, what is this? I'm actually not a big fan of tripods. I think that 99% of the time, they are more hassle than they're worth out in the field for what I shoot. I'm not a wildlife filmmaker. I don't need to keep a 600mm lens stable from a kilometer away. I do run and gun, documentary, verite kind of filmmaking, sometimes experimental, and I rarely ever need the stabilization. When I do need it, this does the job. Literally, I keep this on my camera cage while I'm hiking, and then when I'm walking around like this, literally when I need to plonk it on the ground, I just bam, and it stands. You don't even need to do anything. You just plonk it on the ground. You might say this only gives you stabilization when you want to shoot ground up, which is actually a lot of the time what I do. But if I do need to do it from a higher point, I have to get a bit experimental. Yeah, I might have to put it onto this log here. As you can see in this shot, I might put it on my pack, I might put it on a log, I might put it on a rock, and then I get that perspective as well. Precisely. If you think you need something bigger and you need to get this higher perspective a lot of the time, then buy yourself a Peak Design or a Falcon or one of those. There's cheaper ones. There's probably a small rig one that you can get for $100 or less. But for me, this does everything I need it to, and it's incredibly light, incredibly compact. Yeah, that's why I never really take a big tripod on hikes. Then third on the list, we have my drone. This is the DJI Mini 3 Pro. This thing is amazing because it is super lightweight, 249 grams. Yeah, add the controller, but if you don't want this, you can actually use your phone. I just need my phone to rely on to function potentially as a satellite phone, to send text, to check the map, etc. So I want a separate battery, and this is my solution. But the thing is incredibly versatile. The battery lasts quite a long time, and it fits literally in my pocket or in the top of my backpack, and I can pull it out whenever I want. And honestly, I mean, feel free to disagree, but I think it creates some pretty amazing footage. So if you're thinking about getting a drone at all and you need it to be lightweight, I think honestly this is the best one on the market for the quality it produces, but obviously it comes potentially at a higher price tag than some of the competitor brands. So feel free to check that. Fourth, a light. Now this isn't necessarily the lightest, but bringing some kind of light on your documentary shoots is for me an absolute necessity, because sometimes you just don't have the greatest ambient light conditions and you just need to help the situation out a little bit. For example, in this short film I created the other week, the light from the fire just wasn't quite bright enough, so I ended up bringing this along, and you can actually turn this onto a flame setting, and as you can see in this shot, it creates a nice, beautiful, fiery light on my face that otherwise wouldn't have been possible. It doesn't really matter what brand you get of these, and this thing cost me literally 20 bucks. So if you just jump on Amazon or just go via the link I put below, you can get a pretty cheap one of these, and that just makes sure that you can cover all your bases when you're out there. I don't take a studio light. I think it's ridiculous. It's way too heavy. If the lighting situation is really off by that much, then maybe I shouldn't just shouldn't be shooting then. They're magnetic. You can put these on a fridge. You can put these on a metal pole. So this thing is always in my bag. And lastly are these wonderful Rode Wireless Go-To mics. They're, as the name suggests, wireless, which is incredible because as I'm sitting here, I'm actually recording into one of them. The other one is plugged into my camera, and they have quite a good range. They're obviously super lightweight, so 3 times the size of this, and they weigh almost nothing. They're always in my bag because I can quickly attach them to a subject and record what they're saying. I can record myself when I'm speaking. And the greatest part of these mics is that you can use them to turn any other microphone into a wireless microphone. So this thing is the transmitter, the receiver is plugged into my camera, but it has an aux port right here. And if you just plug any other microphone with an aux cable into this thing will transmit whatever that microphone is recording back to the camera. So these are an amazing little gadget. Again, there's a number of different ones. These are now getting a little bit older, which means they might be a bit cheaper. Newer versions are like the DJI Mic 2, for example, and I think there's now a Rode Wireless. These are the 5 pieces of gear I absolutely rely on every filming trip or expedition. It is my bare bones, bare minimum kit. And honestly, in 80% of cases, that is all I need. You can get away, you can film some great quality videos and films using just one source of visuals, one source of sound, one source of light, and then a drone and a tripod. And then that means you can be on the move, you can be stationary, you can be in the air, you can be on the ground, you can capture audio from all kinds of sources, and if the lighting fails you, you have a backup solution for that as well. So if you're thinking about getting into this field and want to keep it as budget as possible, that's what I would suggest. There are more budget options for any of the products I just talked about. There are cheaper versions, but just cover your bases, visuals, light, sound, and you're good to go. I hope that was helpful, and I gotta get back down this mountain, so I want to get going, but I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers!